once was a man named Gold Roger who was king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung him from the gallows, these were the final words he said.
Full perspective is yours for the taking, but you'll have to join us first. We left everything we debate at the Yonko Table.
Ever since, pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line, searching for the Yonko Table. The table that will make their dreams come true.
Yeah, yo, everyone. The Yonko Table is back in session this week. And for this episode of the Yonko Table, we ask that you lend us your hearts and give in to either the light or the darkness. For they are two sides of the same coin. Or instead of a coin, should I say two sides of the same keyblade? That's right, everyone. We're here to talk about Kingdom Hearts. This is our Kingdom Hearts panel talk, our Kingdom Hearts retrospective. I'm sorry, guys. We're having a good time because we're here to talk about Kingdom Hearts. And we're excited because we're doing this in celebration of the 20th anniversary of Kingdom Hearts. That's right, it's been 20 years since Kingdom Hearts debuted way back when in good old 2002. I'm sure we all remember where we were in 2002 when Kingdom Hearts debuted. But we got a full house of Supernovas with us today, and I'm excited to dive straight in. I mean, you know what? We're gonna do that right now, and I'll just put this as a question to how you guys would describe it. But in your own words, how would you describe Kingdom Hearts? You know, at its core, it's just Final Fantasy meets Disney. But what does it mean to you guys?
You forgot my intro, but that's okay. This is GrandMasterHoop, everybody. I'm not a supernova, but that's okay.
I thought that was your intro earlier.
Yeah, I'll take it. Listen, he
lost it.
Listen, it's okay. Oh, that could be my intro. I don't know if people knew that was my laugh, but that was too damn funny. That was so freaking funny. You asked what is Kingdom Hearts? I'll tell you what Kingdom Hearts is. And we're probably gonna do this throughout the whole podcast. I know, without a doubt, Kingdom Hearts is light.
That's all this is gonna be.
Yes.
That's all it's gonna be.
That's what Kingdom Hearts is. Kingdom Hearts is light. It is like, I don't know, light, full of character, story, nostalgia, and it's fun. Kingdom Hearts is just this weird idea that somehow worked. And I remember when the first little commercial dropped, my brother and I, wherever he may be, we never bought Kingdom Hearts at first. We were renting it at Blockbuster. Couldn't get past Tarzan. The Vines, fuck the Vines. But once I did, it became my thing for a bit. Kingdom Hearts was life at that point. Life, not light.
Oh, it was your drug.
Kind of, something like that. And here I am 20 years later, still a proud fan of Kingdom Hearts. Not without critique, though, but I love Kingdom Hearts. At the end of the day, it is what it is.
Okay, interesting. I mean, part of the appeal of Kingdom Hearts, especially when it debuted back then, some considered it, a JRPG, but it wasn't turn-based. It was action-oriented. And I think that was one of the strong appeals about, at least for me, that was the first thing I saw when I saw Kingdom Hearts for the first time, because you have this Final Fantasy looking character in Sora just whacking the crap out of some Disney villains, and I'm like, I'm sold. This is perfect, and essentially that's all it is. It's just this small boy Sora going to random Disney worlds, and I think for the most part, all of them just deal with the plot of the Disney movie, right? They just inject various aspects of the plot, and Sora is just intermingling like during the movies, basically.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, especially in the first game, Kingdom Hearts knew what to give their audience. They said, let's give them an original story, but when they go into these Disney worlds, have them kind of play out the movies as if they were in the movies themselves. It was like, what would you do if you were partnered with Aladdin? What would you do if you were partnered with Tarzan? And that was a really good, idea for them to, launch with, as far as, taking the story of the Disney movie and throwing in a bunch of original narrative to it. It was better to, just kind of insert yourself in there. Because I guess that's what people did for years. It's like, they imagine what it'd be like to be in some of these Disney movies. In Kingdom Hearts, they provided that with this spiky-haired, yellow-shoed boy with a giant key for a weapon.
I was never a fan of those yellow shoes. I'm fine with the shoes afterward. I hated the yellow shoes.
It was an homage. Yeah, you gotta love them.
Yeah, I love them.
I mean, I like the classic outfit. I get it.
There it is. He's Kame Chris said it. It's Mickey Mouse. His yellow shoes, the red pants. It's Mickey Mouse.
It is. I mean, since Kame Chris mentioned it, what was an aspect that drew you into the series? Was it the yellow shoes? Was it the outfit? What of Kingdom Hearts? And I'm throwing this out there for the table in general, and anyone can answer. What about Kingdom Hearts drew you in? Was it like the combat, the characters?
I'm gonna say the cheesiness.
The cheesiness.
I don't know.
Okay.
Like I mean, we were kids. Like I was a kid, so I mean, it was really cheesy. Like it was the Disney theme, and I guess the music, and it being advertised like all the damn time. I was like, okay, like I really have to try this game. Once I played it, I think that's like when I finalized my obsession, when I beat it in like 3 days, and even like played
3
hooky.
days.
Yeah, I played hooky, and I was shit, man. I don't even remember how old I was. 2002. I remember just like, I'm sick, mom. I can't go to school. I played the whole shebang. Like, and when there was no one home, I played that shit so much. Like, and it was just so addicting. And it really, every time they released a game too, like a big one on a console, it was very addicting. And it just, all you can do is just like every time you hear about a new game, just be obsessed and be like, oh my God, like, hear the music, you're just like it's that thrilling, and it's super, like you said, it's like not turn-based, so it's really smooth as far as combat, and just like play style, and the story while you're playing is really not relatable or anything, but it's really cheesy. Like it's relatable because you grew up with these nostalgic ass things, so you're just like, oh my God, like this is the greatest game. I'm playing shit I used to watch when I was fucking born. Like, I don't know, like since I was born, like this is amazing. But that really, I would say, is my like main points of what drew me into the game. I mean, there's specifics, but yeah, that's like the main points though.
Okay. I'll admit, like, back then I was a sucker for like, the cliche anime badasses. Back then, even in Kingdom Hearts 1, Sora looked like a badass to me. This is youngin Dr. Jace that didn't know any better. I mean, obviously looking back, homie's wearing clown shoes and a one-piece jumpsuit.
It was a one piece. It actually made no sense because it was one piece. The zipper went all the way up.
It went to the neck. It didn't even go down to like the crotch.
Right.
Like but back then, he had spiky hair. He had this cool ass looking.
It's a spiky hair.
Yeah, it was a spiky hair. Like it was like you spike up someone's hair, he automatically becomes a badass. You got some blade sword like looking thing that looks like a key. Keys are cool. Swords are cool. Sora, as dumb as he was back then, even to this day, he was cool. I mean, if anything, I would say I became a fan more so from the second game. I really liked the first one, but when the second game came out and Sora was rocking those trip pants, with all the belt straps and the chains, and I'm like, yo, this is it. This is peak, costume design. Let's go. But that's what drew me in. It was definitely the main character, and then everything else obviously came after that. The fact that it's Disney, the combat was great, even though it's changed throughout the games, all the games. But I think we'll get into that bit by bit the more we go on. But like anyone else, like, because I know some people in here.
Yeah, I can go. Like,
yeah, go ahead.
I know for Kingdom Hearts, I loved it from the beginning. It was a great game. I know I introduced it to Dr. Jace. But...
First of all, listen, wait a minute. Don't troll, because your perspective on this is actually kind of interesting, because tell them the truth.
Oh, wait, are you,
okay.
Toasty, were you late to the show?
He was very late to the show.
I was fashionably late. There is a big difference between just being late and fashionably late. I was fashionably late. I played the game about 3 years ago. Started with the first one when I got the HD collection, the 1.5, 2.8. Ironically speaking, I knew about the music way before I knew about the game. I knew the music. I never knew it came from the game. So I would hear this music. I'm like, oh, I love this music. I don't know what game it's from. But apart from that, like, first game, absolutely hated it, especially the Cerberus fight. Even in the HD remaster, like, the game was difficult. But to be fair, I did play it in the highest difficulty because of Dr. Jace foolishness telling me you have to play this game in the highest difficulty to enjoy it. Go for it. So play the first game, the highest difficulty.
It was a good recommendation, right?
It was a goddamn mess. Like, this game was a disaster. But the second game, though, oh yeah, that one was the game that got to me. The fighting, the end, the boss fight at the end, everything about the second game was amazing. Obviously, you have Chain of Memory that just almost took me out, but I crawled out and made it out to the third game. And apart from that, like, the games were good. Like, I could definitely see why people like them, especially since they're just retelling Disney story. And to the people who never play Kingdom Hearts, that's one of the beauty of it. We enjoy the game because we grew up with good Disney movies. We enjoy going into the Disney world that we saw as kids, like Tarzan, Hercules. Regardless of what you say about the first game, the minute you saw that, you're like, oh snap, I watched this movie yesterday on my VHS. I really want to play this game. If you play it back in the day, that's why it was so good. And even now, you can see it with the third game. My favorite worlds in the third game were from my favorite Disney movie as a kid. The worlds that were the most boring were from the movie I didn't really enjoy. So that's honestly, and that's what's beautiful about it. And because Disney is going to keep releasing movies, we know this story is technically never going to end. The main issue is going to be how long is it going to take for us to get a sequel? Because I know for the OG players, y'all had to wait a lifetime. Some people probably forgot about this series, enjoyed it as a kid and forgot about it and now can't even play it anymore. So
welcome to the party, Toasty, because if I recall correctly, you didn't have to wait for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Nope.
You had the games. He had all the games waiting for him.
I bought the collection as I was playing, I think, the second game. The third game came out. I pre-ordered it, I think. So I already had it like on my desk ready to just jump back in. So
you don't know
like,
the struggle.
It was like 5 months. I remember
it's at least
it was
half
like
the
4.
experience.
I had to wait. No, I had to wait to play the third game. It took me like 2 weeks to finish all of the other games. So I had a waiting time.
Wait, did you play like the spin-off?
Yeah, I played
titles?
everything.
Okay.
Everything in
all
the HD collection.
Got
1.5 and 2.8.
So you don't know the pain of having to buy other consoles or
Yes.
handhelds.
Yes. That's what I say. It's half the experience. For
That's
sure.
right.
PSP, 3DS, DS.
I got a PSP.
So
For the sole fact I knew Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep
and I wanted
was
to
gonna
play
come
it so
out.
bad. Same here.
I bought it 2 years ahead of schedule too. I was like, it's coming.
Oh my god.
Give
Oh
me
yeah, they pushed that back so much.
It
I
kept
remember.
getting delayed.
Oh my god, that was. See, and you know what? The fact that you had anything bad to say, like if you have anything that's like, oh, this game isn't the best or whatever, you truly don't know the struggle, because anybody that's ever waited for a Kingdom Hearts game will never complain about it because we waited too fucking long. Like, I don't no, I do have complaints sometimes, but rarely will I express it. Like I was like, yeah, no. Like the only world I didn't like was Frozen. Ooh, but that's about it. Like
Frozen was not it. Frozen was not it.
That's the
Frozen
main
was great.
complaint I have.
Great level.
Yeah,
You said it was great.
that can't be me.
Fantastic.
I like
If you
it.
want to talk about the audacity of Kingdom Hearts, the Frozen level is super audacious. Like, oh my God. They put the whole Let It Go song in there. I couldn't
They-
believe it. It
they
just kept
really did.
going
They-
and going.
Copy and pasted. They're
But
like,
oh my gosh, it wasn't even like it was copy and pasted, but it was like how can we make this original? Well, you got Sora, he's in the back saying, "Oh wow, she can sing." Like,
go.
right.
Absolutely ridiculous, and I loved it. It was great.
That's part of what made it original. I mean, and I mean, you know, they give some love to like even some of the obscure Disney worlds too. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head.
Oh, come on. Pinocchio was obsure for like the 90s
was-
kids.
I guess, yeah, I was thinking Pinocchio, but then
I
like
like
Alice in
Pinocchio.
Wonderland.
Alice in
guess-
Wonderland.
I
Yeah.
never liked Winnie the Pooh.
Oh,
I
Winnie the
never
Pooh is
liked.
a cute theme.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
And they
Kingdom
keep
Hearts
sending you
theme.
that.
I think it
agree
was
with that.
I think it was a nice like side addition. Like
Yes,
you know,
it's a theme. It's like a whole theme that they keep, and you go inside the book and you help. Like it's supposed to be cute. God damn it! Like, it's supposed to be cute.
Sora.
What do you not like, Tevin?
I don't know. I kind of like just felt like I was talking like the Jocelyn Hernandez. Like, oh, why is you here? Like, why is you here? Like, why am I here? What am I doing here? Am I getting a new weapon? Am I getting some new magic? Am I don't know. I didn't
You can
care.
say that for
I,
every planet.
to
Yeah.
you know, go ahead.
I wanted
I
to
was just
keep
gonna say, whenever like you replay those games and like you get back to the Winnie the Pooh level, it's like, oh yeah, I do have to do the 100-acre woods level. But it's not like I'm playing it on the map. It's just like you end up there, and it's like, oh yeah, that's right. I do have to
There
do
was
this.
some pivotal things. I think you got like some magic upgrades from Pooh Bear.
what a
Like,
drag.
Like there was one mission, if you found Tigger, you got Thunderga. There were some upgrades there.
A drag. It was a drag. I couldn't
Look,
wait to get out.
I
can.
like Winnie the Pooh.
I understand if why.
That's
I
like
mean,
Frozen.
I
Winnie the Pooh, get me out, please.
I like Winnie the Pooh, but I understand Tevin's dislike for its concept of a world because you don't really fight anything in Winnie the Pooh. It's just mini games.
It's
Yeah.
fun.
I think they're fun, but if you just got straight off of fighting Cerberus from Hercules and then you go into Winnie the
It's a
Pooh
break.
100-acre
That
woods.
sounds like a great break.
Right. It's a great break. But if you're trying to just stick to the main story, it's like, oh God, here's Winnie the Pooh. Gotta help him find Piglet.
I guess
Where
that
is
brings
he?
back.
Or like,
I guess that brings back to Toasty's point though. Like I grew up loving Winnie the Pooh, so of course I'm gonna love every time I see Winnie the Pooh though.
that's
like,
yes, that is
that's-
that
yeah,
is
Yeah,
that.
there we go.
It's
I'm
going
a
back to
diehard
nostalgia.
Winnie the Pooh stan. Like my name's Christopher.
Oh my God.
The only thing is, I think it's like Pokemon Go. It's like some moments you just don't get back. I mean, I think it must be nice to have played the games all together, but like some moments are just like too just innocently, purely amazing to just like follow me. Just being a little black kid in the hood and the commercial comes on. Like you asked me what brought you it, like the commercial is what brought me, like literally. Like every single time that commercial came on for those 26 seconds or however long it was like I was off somewhere else,
Yes.
ignoring everything in the world. Like no commercial to me in my life has like captured my attention like that. Except for like some mattress commercial. Y'all probably wouldn't know it though. But like that's what brought me. And also at that time, that was when I was in my JRPG fan. So I was playing like Golden Sun. I had just beat Final Fantasy X2. That was like my first Final Fantasy game.
Ooh, an X2
Weird.
fan.
I know weird place to
Okay.
start, but that's where I started. Like Rogue Galaxy and all that stuff. So I was really big into the RPG. So it was just a smooth transition for me. And then, all the Disney stuff, yeah, but that's pretty much it. I think I lost my train of thought. But
Well, no, let me pick it back off of what you're saying with the
commercial
commercial.
was amazing.
And
my God.
Right. And what Toasty saying with the music, You know, that commercial started with that Square Enix, like that ping.
Yes.
Oh, that's
right. And then they hit you with, you know, the remix of Simple and Clean, like when you walk away.
You see JD,
Yep, that's the song.
Me as a kid, I can't wait till this comes out.
Right, that music is so annoying. I see you talk about the first game. I vividly remember the first time seeing the Kingdom Hearts 2 commercial when they were doing the Sanctuary remix, and it was the ping, and like the first image is Sora riding on Pegasus, flashing at the Hydra. Like,
it was amazing when you first saw the commercial and no one gave you a heads up of anything.
Right, I had no idea.
It was like ding. I was like, I like literally almost started crying as a kid. I was like,
right,
like I'm really getting a number 2.
My brother and I used to collect the magazines, the Game Informer magazines, but
I don't think
sometimes, you know, we just read it for the pictures more or less. We didn't actually look to see the release date of these games. So when the commercial drops, you know, you're just like, oh shit, it's here. Like it just blows you out of the water.
Do y'all remember back on the Disney Channel, they used to have these little in between commercials, it would be like this first person camera view where this kid, he would be basically breaking and entering into a Disney facility, and he would go like underground, and he would go into like their secret labs. He would hack into their computer, and then he would tell the Disney AI, all right, Disney AI, tell me, what is this encrypted file known as Kingdom Hearts? And the AI would be like, Kingdom Hearts is a JRPG with Final Fantasy and Disney characters. Like, it was so cheesy. You know, back when channels really try to like stand out from like each other and they didn't want to be the same. It was like these little things where like the kid was like a secret agent. He was breaking and trying to get, I guess,
find this commercial.
Right.
Find it.
Yeah,
I
need this because I feel like I have an idea.
It's there.
I can picture exactly what you're talking about.
It's first
I just don't
person.
remember it. I get it. Like I could see it. Disney Channel was corny back in the day for promoting a lot of their movies and shit. So
don't worry.
See it. I can see it.
Anyone watching this in the chat, you guys know what to do. Put a link, and I'll send a link to the group chat for the Yonko Table. I'm finding that thing is iconic for me. But like that, to me, that was the commercial that got me into the series. I kept seeing it, and I kept seeing all these Disney worlds, and I'm like, oh my God, this is I thought it was a hidden file in Disney's computers that was not supposed to come out, and it came out. So I'm like, oh wow, it's on the blacklist. So let me go grab it before they take it off. But you know,
I'll go real quick and explain what got me into it. You know, we keep mentioning Final Fantasy, and it was like, you know, it's so interesting because I listen to like a lot of video game podcasts, and it feels like if you're 3, 4, 5 years older than us, then like you don't really like Kingdom Hearts. I feel like the way like our time frame does. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it just doesn't hit the same. And like kind of my theory about that, you know, is that if you're a little bit older than us, then you played like Final Fantasy 7, you played Final Fantasy 8, you know, you played those games and you got into, those were your JRPGs. While if you're a little bit younger, you kind of just missed that window. You just missed it, but you knew about it. It was in the ether. And like, it was almost like these Final Fantasy games and characters became like legends. Like, you know, GrandMasterHoop mentioned reading magazines with his brother. Like, similarly, like with my brother, you know, we used to look at these, and you know, back in the day, Final Fantasy 7 was seen as like the end all be all game. That was like, and you may have been 7 or whatever, 5. I think I was 4 when it came out or whatever. You know, I couldn't play it. I just knew about it. And so when, you know, I grew up with the Disney movies, and that was my thing as a child. So when it came time to be into JRPGs, here came this perfect mesh of like, hey, here's what you've been into as a child. Here's this kind of mix mash of Final Fantasy characters kind of combining to make this weird concoction. And it just felt like the perfect time for kids those age, where it was like, oh, you know what? I'm ready for my JRPG. I'm ready to have my own Final Fantasy VII. And it just happened to include these like legendary characters. And it just came out for the perfect time for people of a certain age.
They knew we were coming. They knew it was our time, like you said, right? Like they were catering to an audience who would be ready to stop, viewing and start, getting hands-on.
No, for sure.
Weird that they they picked us in a weird way. Like that's a very specific time period of kids we're gonna target these kids forever.
But it's
forever.
It's perfect. It's perfect though, because most of us in here are anime fans, and we grew up during that era of anime where, like I was mentioning earlier, you have like the cool jacket, big ass sword on the shoulder, spiky haired main character. Literally every Final Fantasy character in even the first Kingdom Hearts, they were on some level of badassery that I was like, wow, this is really cool. Who the hell is that blonde character? And I never played Final Fantasy before that. I never did.
It's like Sora was cool, but then it was like you met Cloud, and it's like,
oh, Cloud was 10 times cooler than Sora.
He was so much cooler.
Exactly. Like put them on a pedestal.
All the Final Fantasy characters that appeared in Kingdom Hearts were cooler than Sora, and I think that was the point. They were kind of, it was almost like Sora was us in a sense of us breaking into anime. And then it's like, oh shit, here's Leon with a gun blade.
That was so cool.
Cloud with why using a fucking keyblade?
Right. Here's Sephiroth with a freaking 10-foot sword. Yeah.
I mean,
Sora's a joke.
It's funny because I was so unfamiliar with all of these characters. I've heard of Final Fantasy VII before that, but kind of like what HooperTV was saying earlier, I didn't play those games. Those games were too damn hard when I was 3 or 4 when they came out. So, but then here comes Sephiroth in one of the most difficult secret boss fights in all the games and whooping my ass. But I'm a fan. I'm like, this is cool. I like it.
Yeah, Tevin mentioned it. They were on Final Fantasy X by the time Kingdom Hearts came out. It was like, well, dang, do I have to play 1 through 9? I don't know. But then when Kingdom Hearts came out, it was like, here's the first one. Here's your entry level into JRPGs, and we'll make it a little more colorful and a little more, and sprinkle in some Disney characters to make your transition easier into this.
No, for sure.
And again, it makes perfect sense if you think about it. Those games came out in 2002, 2003. Around those age, we were about 8 to 10 years old. So that's around the perfect time to get us with the JRPG. It's the perfect time.
Very, very
Absolutely.
Impressionable age. And
you throw in Disney, the movie that we grew up with in the 90s.
Disney is what sealed
perfect.
the deal. Disney is what sealed the deal for it. I think they had the template already solid with the the Final Fantasy and the combat and everything. And I think the Disney was the final cherry on top. They're like, you know what, let's theme this around these type of movies and films, and we're good to go.
Right. And that just creates longevity right there. As I think Toasty said.
Right. Yeah.
We don't even need the actual story of Kingdom Hearts. We want to know what Disney movies we're about to pop in the next entry. That was
characters.
Say again.
And Final Fantasy
characters.
So it was the Disney fans of Kingdom Hearts, they're expecting whatever movie. The Final Fantasy is okay, are they gonna bring in this Final Fantasy game, or are they gonna bring in another Square Enix game? They brought in The World Ends With You in Dream Drop Distance, and that has a very nice following, and that's how they keep their fans coming, because it's keeps them guessing. What are we gonna throw in next? What are you gonna be, saliving at the mouth for?
When are we getting Star Wars in this world?
When are we getting Star Wars?
IPs.
When are we getting Marvel?
That will make sense. It's a blade.
The 10-year question.
When are we getting The Simpsons?
They gave us Tron. They can give us Star Wars.
Yeah,
The
right.
fact that-
They dipped into Tron before anything.
They did Tron and Pirates of the Caribbean. I think that seals the deal for anything is possible.
Well, when they
Anything is
did
possible.
those, especially when they did Tron, right? They said anything is possible. They said we digging deep in the library. Shit, we might pull out Song of the South and get all the, the racist folk out here.
Oh my god. No.
Historical.
Right.
Right. It's a historical planet. They'll go on the timeless river and go to the past. Oh my god, that's
like
wild.
what Dr. Jace was saying about how Kingdom Hearts 2 like sealed the deal. Like, I sort of played a little bit of Kingdom Hearts 1, but did a lot of watching of my little brother, wherever he may be. I played Chain of Memories. I don't know if I beat it. The card game was interesting, but very different.
Don't lie
from
to
what
yourself.
the
It
original
was
game
garbage.
Hold up. If you play the 3D one, it was garbage. The GBA one was not garbage.
The GBA had pretty good graphics for GBA. You
The
go back and
sprites
look
were
at that.
nice. The sprites were-
Enough.
Listen, for the system it was on, Chain of Memories was balling.
Chain of
Memories.
Memories.
They released it for the
it was pretty
PS4
good.
and then it went down.
But once
Exactly
you got to
what?
2,
Yeah.
once you got to 2 is like the most ridiculous. Like we mentioned Tron and Pirates of the Caribbean levels. Like the fact that they opened with 3 hours with a random character you've never heard
That
of.
was risky.
Roxas.
Oh yeah.
Roxas.
It is the most
Risky is
ridiculous
the perfect
experience
word.
I've ever experienced in the video game. Like it's like that opening level. Like that entire game is like off the wall, but I love it. When they have a chance to like kind of like smooth things out, like they tripled down and said, no, we're not making this easy for anyone.
Yeah, Roxas was painful. Oh, like so painful. I was like, what am I doing?
I know they were in the writing room and Tetsuya Nomura is at the head of the table. They're all asking, sir, can we please just live only 2 days of Roxas's life? No! We need all 7!
They said, you need to feel this boy's last days of summer.
No, wait. The whole time I was like, "What are y'all talking about?" I thought y'all just meant like Roxas as a character, and I'm like, "He's not that bad."
No.
Y'all talking about the opening.
The opening of Kingdom Hearts.
Opening was bad.
Remember how you had to go make money
What?
to go to the beach?
Yes.
And then you
that
couldn't
was
even go to the beach?
Yeah.
Painter.
That was
Pens.
Oh, what?
That opening was really awful. That was a long.
It was awful, but let me tell you,
Wow.
I was left mouth agape when if you got to the 7th day and you're Roxas and you encounter your best friend Axel and that fight sequence, don't tell me it's not iconic.
That's what I was like. All right, let's play.
I lost. Okay, I'm sold. I'm sold.
Whoa. Okay. Hold up now. The whole time you're walking around with this little blue stupid sword, collecting balls from people that you hit, and also it can't do nothing against anybody. And then when you meet Axel, he pulls out Oblivion and Oathkeeper. Oathkeeper. Of course you're gonna be in it at that point. One, we never dual wielded ever, and he's dual wielding 2 of the OP Keyblades from the previous game. Yes, you're gonna be invested at that point. You're gonna say, "Oh, I just wasted 7 hours doing these 7 days for this.
Worth it.
I'm
Worth
in it. Right, I'm here." Right. Like you forgot everything that just transpired because at that point, man, we in there.
You forgave everything that happened.
But I think when we were as kids, if you did play when we were kids or like middle school, whatever, it didn't feel bad at all. Like it really like the beginning playing as Roxas. Actually, I was just kind of wondering like when are we getting to the climax? But at the same time, I was like, this is how the first one was. I know something crazy is gonna happen.
No, it was not.
And then
No,
when
it's not.
you reach the end, it's like right before you reach the end, you're like, all right, this nigga's going to bed again. All right. All right, what are we doing? Like, and then you're like, oh, 2 Keyblades. I love this game.
Right. They made you literally forget all the shit, all the dumb shit you just went through. and they gave you 2 keyblades, and that should suffice for everything that you just did.
Oh yeah, they dragged you
supposed to
a
forget
long
it.
way.
That was long. It
was rough, but I feel like once it got over that hurdle,
yes,
the game was slapping every single beat. like
I feel like 1 had a better, more immersive story, but 2, the battle system was so much better.
Okay.
It was much better.
The
The
battle
worlds were a
system.
lot better too.
And I think 3 took it too far. Because 3
Ooh.
Ooh,
Well,
I-
okay.
interesting.
Wait a minute.
Come on.
Interesting
Hold
that
on
you
for
say
that.
this.
Hold on, Dr.
Tevin.
Jace. How do you want to go about this? Are we dipping into territories? How you want to tackle this? You want to talk about story first, or what are we doing here?
We've
And
been
you notice-
teetering.
I'm sorry. And you
Go
notice we've mostly been talking about 1 and 2. We really haven't been talking about 3 a lot.
Okay,
Ooh.
okay,
I
no,
digress.
no. This is a good segue. This is a good segue. Okay, so
I didn't finish it. Just let
we've
y'all
been
know. Halfway.
we've been kind of talking about the story, right? I think it's a good point to mention, with Kingdom Hearts 1 being the first game in the series, and Disney and Square Enix not knowing if this was gonna pop or anything, you have to acknowledge the simplicity of the first Kingdom Hearts. It's just light versus darkness. The Disney villains are evil. Go kick their ass. That's
Save the princesses.
and
Save the
save the princesses of heart.
Find your
That-
friends. Find your friends.
Find your friends, and that's it. But of course, Square Enix was genius with this. They left it on somewhat of like a cliffhanger, right? The beautiful iconic scene when Simple and Clean starts playing in the background, when Kairi and Sora they lose touch with each other. I promise I'll find you.
I know you will.
So she does
Iconic.
go
Cliche, but that's what makes the game so good.
It makes it iconic. So from there, you're like, okay, I'm sold on these characters. I want them to find each other again. What are they gonna do from here? What do we think about the direction Kingdom Hearts 2? I guess technically Chain of Memories started, but back in the day, I skipped Chain of Memories because I didn't know it was part of the story.
Yeah, I didn't know.
That's kind of the
I
story
think
right
a lot
there.
of it-
Or you didn't know it'd be pivotal to the story.
Pivotal, right? Because it's on the Game Boy Advance. I'm like, okay.
You had to get it.
And of course,
I
being
played late. Yeah.
As you know
Yeah.
now, everything's pivotal.
every single, it doesn't matter if it's like a Temple Run spinoff on the mobile phone. It's key to the story. You need to
Oh
play.
hell yeah.
You need to. But yeah, like we go into Kingdom Hearts 2, and this story, let me tell you, when I jumped in, I saw these people in black robes, chains around their neck. I see people emerging out of darkness. I see Axel spinning these flames of wheels. What the hell is going on? And the introduction of nobodies. I guess what I'm trying to say is, are you guys fans of the story? Because I feel like to a degree we all are, but like, what do you guys think about how the story took off after Kingdom Hearts 1? Are you just in it
It's
for the fun
amazing.
of it? Or like,
It was amazing. The story.
amazing.
But that's because I played every single side Kingdom Hearts as well. I made sure I stayed up to date. I think Chain of Memories was the only game I waited until like high school to play on Game Boy Advance because I still had mine, and I was at GameStop and they had it, whatever. So it was, I guess, like literally every single side story and the main story, because every single character matters and every single part of those stories matter. You have to be on top of it, and it was amazing. I was like, holy shit, how does this matter all the way in Birth by Sleep? How does Roxas in what was the DS game? 25
358.
Yeah,
over
yeah,
two.
something like that. Yeah. And like when you see him, you're like, wait, hold up. So we have Roxas, then we have Ventus. So there's something I'm missing in between all this. And you're like, Kingdom Hearts 3 will explain it. Then you're like, oh wait,
Whenever
gotta
that
wait a
comes
decade.
out. Oh wait, I still got about 10 years on
No,
that.
no, that's it.
Literally.
That's exactly what happened. Every character matters. I don't know. every character matters, but
Every character.
Well,
but like
Every single one matters.
to the to the casual fan, the story would seem very convoluted. If it is very true, if you weren't keeping up with every entry in the series, the story kind of loses itself.
Who has that kind of money? Who has that
Right.
kind of money?
No, you're right. You're right. And that's really unfair on the fans to make
Well,
them bounce
people.
around the different consoles that it came out on.
mind you,
Because-
this was back in the day. Now it's like convenient. Like
Yeah.
Toasty got the
Yeah.
most convenient method of playing these damn games.
Obviously.
He
And
played
unlike
like-
the fake fans, I played all the game in order the way it's supposed to be. Y'all skipped around. I follow the story.
Oh,
So I'm a bigger fan
Yeah.
than all of y'all right here.
Yo, geez.
But
I'm
like,
just saying.
Not late.
as children, you know, here we are begging our parents to, oh, I need a Game Boy Advance, I need a DS, I need a PSP, I need a phone to play the mobile game. You know,
Oh my God.
it was very unfair on the fans to the point
You should have been saving your lunch money. What were you eating at lunch? Put that $2
we did not
aside.
have free and reduced lunch, so it is what it is.
I did
either.
so much Wikipediaing. I was on Wikipedia.
Oh
so
my god,
much.
Wikipedia was the best friend
that-
to have for
Wikipedia and
a
YouTube.
series like this.
There was no other way to keep up with the amount. I love, and I think I'm different than Chris. I think if I was like Chris, who played every single game, I might feel different. But for me, as somebody who played mostly, I played 1, 2, and 3. I tried Chain of Memories. It wasn't for me, so I'm like Toasty.
Oh my god!
You have to
Hey,
go
all the
back.
flack that
Fake
Chain of
fans right
Memories
there.
is getting.
Kick him out. Just kick him out.
All that Keyblade War stuff, all that just really just came out of like left field. It was
Yeah.
like, we went 2.5 games, and all we got Xehanort, Xehanos, and it was a lot. Terra and Ventus.
Honestly, though,
What is going on? We were
If
just
you-
we were just with the Little Mermaid. How the hell did we end up over here?
I mean, honestly, if you're playing the
We're just
game,
helping Ariel find her voice. Like, what is going on?
I feel like when the games were released, they released every game like well after a console was made. So eventually, you know, most people would have like a DS or like PS2 or then PS3. Like, you know, people are gonna have the next thing, or you know, a Wii or whatever. They didn't go on Wii, but I'm just saying, like, you know, they're, you know, just depending on what's going on at the time, they're going to, you know, adapt to whatever.
No.
Yeah, they
It's
know.
the
And
opposite.
and it's like years and years and years, you know, between the games anyway. It's at least like 2-3 years between like every other game. So they're like releasing it, and I mean, you already have the systems at that point. But no, as soon as Nobody's came around, if you did like really pay attention to the story, they did talk about the war. Like a lot of things were discussed. Now, it's if you paid attention at that young of an age of what was going on, what's a problem. But yeah, no, it's convoluted now, but yeah, I didn't think it was that
No.
crazy.
I mean, Chris, I would say it was the opposite, because for most of us, we only got gift 2 times a year, Christmas and birthday. So imagine going to your parents and saying, yo, I need a PSP this year. I need a Wii next year. And they're going to like,
But
don't
every
you have a
2-3
PSP?
years though.
No, but
every 2-3
remember,
years,
But remember, you would go to school, go into the playground, and you have that little snake on the side saying, did you hear the end of Kingdom Heart? Oh, let me tell you what happened. Blah, 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 blah,
Yo,
blah.
that was
I mean, I
fucking
still have...
Chase. That's
There are
fucking
grown
Chase all
adults.
day.
What? Yes.
He's a
There are-
spoiler.
there-
What are you talking about?
He's a spoiler.
No.
He spoiled
Yes, I
Birth
heard the
by
rumors.
Sleep. Yes, he did.
I did not.
I heard the rumors. But you see, this is the issue. You would have a kid just drop the lore out of nowhere because you have to wait 6 months to get the game. And at that point, you lose your shit. It's like, I feel like it was way more difficult.
They
Like,
came
at least
out
for
so
me.
late after each console though. Like it was like the DS was out
Oh.
for like freaking 4 years or some shit when the DS games released, and then like PlayStation
remember, most people had a
PlayStation 2 had
PSP.
been out.
But most people either wanted a PSP or a DS. You can't really choose both. If you had a PSP, you told, at least my parents, they would look at me and say, "Don't you already have a PSP? Why do you need another game system?
No, Mom, I have a
PSP."
No, listen.
Yes, but the DS game can play on the PSP, can they? Get off the internet. It doesn't use the internet. No, the Wi-Fi
put the
is slow.
disc inside the DS.
Right, the little slot to insert the disc are clearly one's a disc and one's a little cartridge. No,
you see, that's when they look at you and say, "Don't play smart with me. I know you're trying to trick me to get a new system." And then at that point, you lose the current system.
You get the belt and the chancla.
Both of y'all bring up great points, because I remember the promos for 358/2 and Birth by Sleep came out simultaneously. Those games came out within like a couple of months of each other, to where it was like, you pick your experience. Do you want the DS version or do you want the PSP version? Which everybody knows the PSP version was highly superior to the DS version. It's crazy how much superior it was. But it was like, again, I say it's unfair to the fans who had to, beg their parents to, go ahead and choose one. I remember that is the sole reason I got a PSP. I had a DS for like 3 to 4 years. I had no reason to get a PSP, but other than that, I knew Birth by Sleep was coming. So I'm playing games like Daxter, some
game. That was my first game on the PSP.
Yes, Daxter. It came in a bundle. There was some Grand Theft Auto game I played, and then when I found out how to connect to the internet, I was downloading games to bypass Birth by Sleep. And when Birth by Sleep came out, it was well worth the wait, because that might be my favorite entry in the whole entire franchise.
And see how long it took?
Yes, it took forever.
It took forever.
It took forever.
I had a PSP so long before I had Birth by Sleep.
Right.
Like, so long.
And like the span of popularity for the PSP is very short-lived. It's probably like 5 years most.
That's probably the peak of it, honestly.
It's the Dreamcast PlayStation.
Yeah, it's the Dreamcast PlayStation. That's a good way to put it.
I think Birth by Sleep was one of those games when it came out, you were like, shit, where's my PSP at? Like, I forgot all about this shit. I hope I didn't break it.
I mean, Grandmaster was mentioning, that Birth by Sleep was his favorite entry. And I'm assuming it's likely because, story-wise, I think Birth by Sleep is my favorite entry. Story-wise. Damn right, Tevin. Damn right.
I agree.
It is.
100%.
Story-wise. Because
Birth by Sleep is a very good story.
It's a very good story. And let me tell you why it's a very good story. Because as a youngin' growing up, the fan theories that were going around about Birth by Sleep. Because let me tell you, right? You play Kingdom Hearts 2, right? You're on the critical mode, you're defeating the secret boss, and then at the very end, you fight this thing called the Lingering Will.
The Lingering Will.
What the hell is this? And this thing kicks your ass. It destroys you, but you finally overcome it.
Yeah, made me rage quit the game. I rage quit Kingdom Hearts 2 because of that boss.
Because Toasty's not a fan. Exactly. He's not a fan of Kingdom Hearts. That's exactly why. He didn't believe in his power of friendship, and he didn't persevere. But if you managed to persevere, you were greeted, probably didn't have to beat him, but you were greeted with one of the most bomb-ass cinematic cutscenes, I think, at least in gaming media in general. And it's that scene where you have these 3 armored figures walking in a desert, and you see this shadowy figure walking towards them, and you see these keyblades all around, like the desert, stabbed into the ground, and you're wondering, mind you, there's like flashing of text all over the screen, like, what is darkness? What is light? Keyblade War? ? And I'm like, what? And this was cool. So obviously, as a fan, you're thinking, okay, this has to be Kingdom Hearts 3. I can't wait for Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, obviously,
we thought,
right? But no, it was actually Birth by Sleep. And the questions and mystery going into Birth by Sleep and the way Birth by Sleep addressed those questions, I thought it was genius. nothing short of genius. Especially introducing three brand new main characters that are pretty likable. Maybe not Terra. Terra
was garbage. He was garbage.
They all have some kind of likability.
They had an element.
Terra was garbage. Let's just agree on that and move on. Terra was the worst. That's why we all played Terra first. We got his story over with.
I did not play Terra first. I played Aqua first. I played
Ventus first.
You see, some of us are not real fans of the series, and it shows just with that.
All right, Mr. Late to the show, right?
Yes, Mr. 2019.
Fashionably late.
2019. I'll play the game in 2019.
Right.
But I mean, yeah. What is you guys' favorite like Kingdom Hearts? Like personal favorite. Doesn't have to be the best one. Just Birth by Sleep in general. Like, well, I mean, like in terms of what? Best overall, best combat, best story. Like what?
Best overall.
For me, it was the story, just because you could see where all three of them were at different point of the story. And how they all met at the end in the final fight scene when you realized that they lost, that there was no hope at all, and they were gonna lose because it clicked that these guys are gonna lose. That was a well-made story, because in any other cliche story, the hero always win, but one by one you saw them start to die. Like that was good, and you realize, oh snap, the lingering will was the armor I fought in Kingdom Hearts 2. So if it's the lingering will, that means this man did not get out of that desert. He's still there. What's gonna happen? And then boom.
No, I think Birth by Sleep was the call. Go ahead, Tevin. Go ahead.
With y'all.
You've been waiting.
You already know. No, I'm not about to do this. I already know Kingdom Hearts 2.
He's gonna say Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm calling it now.
Oh, he said 2.
He said 2.
Yes.
Oh, 2?
I don't like it.
Never mind.
I don't know. Okay, here's the thing with Kingdom Hearts 3. I still have my save file, but I don't ever foresee myself going back to finish. I think I got to what is ever at the Frozen, and I thought I was good.
You didn't finish Kingdom Hearts 3?
Yeah, did you finish it?
No.
Really?
What?
All those fake fans. I'm calling it now.
Let me tell you why. I am that fan that who kind of just feels like, besides the fact that it was a little easy, it was a lot easier than maybe it felt like 2. Maybe combat wise, it felt more like 2. Maybe it would have been easy for me to stay. But for me, it kind of just feels like I've aged out of 3. And I'm a little bit older than you guys. You know, I'm like 4-5 years older than y'all. So it's like second, how did you guys know about the secret boss for Kingdom Hearts 2? How did you guys know about that? Were y'all Googling this shit?
YouTube.
YouTube.
There was no
the game.
My instinct.
That's the thing. See, when I played
the game.
Huh?
We played the game. There we go. We played the game.
We finished the game, right?
I wandered and I just was collecting everything, and I was just like, all right, like I just want to see, because the Kingdom Hearts, the first one was like this. So let's see what's in game. What do we have here? And you literally just play the game. You do all objectives and everything, and then you'll run into them eventually. But yeah, no, I just played the game.
I find it interesting that you never finished.
I had no help. I just played the game.
That is very interesting.
Yeah, it's been 2 years since it's been out now.
I know, but honestly, I tried. I played it. I just like I said, I do think I did that fan. This Kingdom Hearts 3 just took for me way too long to come out. And like right now, it's like, okay, I could play Kingdom Hearts 3. I could also be playing The Witcher 3. I could also be playing Final Fantasy 14, which takes a lot of fucking time. Borderlands 3 is out, and PlayStation 5. Like, it's just like, I tried. And I have, as a super fan, I still have the file there. I deleted like hella things in place of it. You know, we got to make space. And I just keep that file just in case I go back to it. But I just don't really see myself.
I can't relate. I'm sorry.
I mean, well, to his point, I will say this. I ran through Kingdom Hearts 3. I played the mediocre DLC.
I still love it.
Never went back.
Mediocre DLC?
Yes, that bullshit where you play as Kyrie fighting. I was like, whatever.
Did you do anything else in the DLC?
Where you go back and fight some of the organization members?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Who cares? It leads to the most badass
I'm just about
fight.
to get there. Yes. To this day, y'all gonna actually make me put this disc in today. I have yet to beat Yozoro.
I thought we got
Well, you have to be who?
You know, I swear, like,
Yazora.
Oh,
yeah,
I don't think I ever even fought him.
Oh, you're not. You haven't. You clearly haven't.
You're in the
You
same boat
have
with
to beat-
Tevin
you
then.
have to- You have to beat all the
No, to be
organization
fair,
members,
I didn't
right?
play the
Yeah, you
DLC
gotta beat
either.
the organization members.
Hell no, I couldn't even get past like
It is time consuming. It is time consuming as fuck.
They are difficult. They are
right.
difficult.
I don't even know who I got stuck on, so nah.
There were plenty. You know, you got Shion is one of the harder ones. Every time she hits you, your HP bar decreases every time. But listen, like, you know, that is interesting though, because I think at some point you kind of have to go back to how long were you guys waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3? You guys were waiting a long time. We were all waiting a long
15.
time.
15.
Was it 15? Wait, yeah.
Already 2 weeks. Not that long, really.
Oh,
It was
That's
all right.
right. Yeah, the mega fan
Great.
over here. Right. But it's interesting because I think for a lot of people, Kingdom Hearts 3, it was a mix of too little too late, or why the hell are they doing this? The game doesn't feel complete. I know for when I finished Kingdom Hearts 3, despite my enjoyment of it, because I was expecting it to be better than 2. 2 was my favorite in terms of like just, you know, what you could do in terms of like the worlds you explored, the combat. I liked Birth by Sleep overall for like everything about it. But for 2, it was the combat that sold me more and the worlds that we got to visit. When 3 came out, I would like, you know, what the first world is like Toy Story, I think, right? And I'm like, that I like this world. This world's really nice. I really like exploring Andy's room and going to the toy store.
First world was Hercules. It wasn't Toy Story.
Actually, no, you're right. You're right. Hercules.
Yeah, it was
second
Hercules.
world.
Come on,
Second
man.
world was
Yeah.
Toy Story. Right.
Yeah, second.
And like, I mean, even the first world with Olympus, scaling Mount Olympus, that was amazing. Mind you, I think the reason, like I think the reason why I even brushed over Mount Olympus is because how many times have we seen Hercules in Kingdom Hearts?
Every single freaking game. Every
single one.
game.
To some degree. And I think, you know, for 3, they were just like, we understand this is probably like the 10th time you guys have seen this, but you haven't seen it like this.
Yeah,
And
I was like, we're gonna make it beautiful.
No, they did a good job. They
did a fantastic job.
Because instead of doing the Colosseum bit, they did Thebes. They did going up the mountain. They did, you know, Mount Olympus. Finally, they actually took it to where they should have been taking it. But it's just like, it took them forever to actually get here.
All the previous games were just the Colosseum, except
and the,
2
and the underworld.
and the underworld too. Right. But yeah, going into 3, I don't know. I beat 3 and I was like, 2 is still better overall.
Yeah.
It feels like, sorry to cut you off, Grandmaster.
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
It feels like, you know, that the leap between 1 and 2, which I remind you was what, like 3 years? It felt like that was like a huge leap. Like it just felt like Sora's abilities were super expanded, you know, his different forms and whatnot. Like the worlds felt so much more bigger, fleshed out. The leap between 2 and 3, which was, I guess somebody said 15 years. It felt like it wasn't even.
It's 2005 for number 2, 2019. So what? 14.
So
and
14
some months.
years. 14 years. Like they had all this time, and it just felt like, rather than a leap, it was like a step forward. You know, it was a lot smoother. The worlds were definitely bigger, more
prettier,
polished and whatnot. Yeah. Way prettier. You know what I mean? It was definitely like PlayStation 4 generation level quality, but it wasn't like, it was nowhere near, I feel like, the leap that a lot of people were expecting. It still had a lot of stuff I liked. You know, I liked the Frozen level. I liked that they went all out and gave us all of Let It Go. I appreciated that Tangled level was like shot for shot the movie. Like, what? Well, why would they do that? I don't know, but I loved it. They just gave you the whole movie inside a video game. Absolutely ridiculously brilliant, as Kingdom Hearts is. But yeah, it just didn't quite feel like it took, like, it definitely didn't take a 14-year leap. And to be honest, it didn't even take like the 3-year leap between 1 and 2 that they had.
That is a good analysis, because whoever said that the combat system was easier is absolutely right. Kingdom Hearts 3 felt like a cakewalk. I really didn't feel challenged playing that game at all. Like, I remember I had to train my ass off to beat Zaldin in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Oh my God.
Without Mickey saving my ass and reviving me. And then I felt even shittier when Mickey got killed, you know? So I never had that experience in Kingdom Hearts 3. Never in my life.
Fight the organization and come back.
Kingdom Hearts 3? But I'm talking about
3.
in game. I'm not talking about post game. You know,
that's in game to me.
But then part of it,
that's game content.
Part of it also is that was DLC at the end of the day.
Right.
That wasn't available at release.
But I hope y'all know that's because everybody said these exact things. The game was too easy, so they're like, "All right, bet. Like, we got you. The game's too easy, so I can't even beat the last character now because the game was too easy." Like,
they gave us what we wanted.
They literally said, "You know what? Here you go. Difficulty too fucking hard. Good luck."
I mean, yeah, a lot of. I think that was a constant theme throughout all the games. They had some. I think the difficulty was constant in all the games leading up to 3. You know, you would usually hit a wall and you would be like, well, damn, I better go back and grind my ass off. I'm too low level to go fight this boss. I'm too low level to fight Vanitas. Why is he riding on a bunch of Keyblades? It's too difficult. So you have to go back and grind. But like with Kingdom Hearts 3, you kind of, at least in the base game, you just blasted through everything. And I think part of it is because the combat, it kind of incorporated everything that was leading up to the 3rd game. You know, you got a little bit of Dream Drop in there. You got 2. You got Birth by Sleep. There's no Chain of Memories. I know that's people's favorites. No cards.
That's okay. We okay.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, 3 was a good game. I enjoyed it. Was it worth 15 plus years waiting? I don't think any game's worth that long, but
what they were waiting for, or just like we just make another game until.
Well, they had what?
Final Fantasy. They had
Fantasy
games in between then.
They had Final Fantasy.
It was
13.
It was 15.
Oh,
it was 13 verses. So we've mentioned his name.
Right.
I feel like we at least give like the background. So like
15 verses. Yeah.
I have like the Wikipedia pulled up. So
go ahead.
I guess at some point, you know, Disney and Square Enix shared a building together. And if you want to talk about the ridiculousness of Kingdom Hearts, well, here's the origin story. One day, 2 Square Enix exec, I think Sakaguchi, the creator of Final Fantasy, were just having a conversation about making a like kind of like no longer turn-based, kind of like a free roaming RPG, similar to Super Mario 64. And in that conversation, a little known guy named Tetsuya Nomura overheard the conversation and said, "Hey, I'd be happy to direct that." Tetsuya Nomura, if you don't know him, he was the character designer of Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 10. So he's the one who gave you Cloud, he gave you Squall / Leon.
Yeah.
He gave you Tidus, you know. And so he was kind of like hot shit at Square at the time. He was like, "Oh wow, he gave us all these iconic characters. Dude, if you want to spearhead this, go ahead. You got this. We're gonna mix in Disney because like Disney was right next door." And that overhearing that conversation and just stepping in gave birth to everything that is Kingdom Hearts. I think he's been the director on every game.
Every single
every
one.
game. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I think he kept getting bigger with the more success that Kingdom Hearts was getting. And I think he was supposed to direct Final Fantasy 13 Versus, which ended up having like the worst development of any Final Fantasy game ever, where it had to like switch and become Final Fantasy 15 like super late, and then Nomura was like taken off of it to go do Kingdom Hearts and like focused on other stuff. And so that was a huge part of the delay. And I also think if you play Final Fantasy 7 Remake, you can see that Nomura, you can see that he probably has a character design mentality. He doesn't have your normal story beats, flowing plot when it comes to anything. I think he goes at his stories with like, oh, you know what would be cool? Belts. You know what would be cool? Zippers. The way he designs his characters is how he goes about his stories. Because it's like,
Pockets.
you know what would be cool? 13 characters in cloaks. You know what would be cool?
13's unlucky.
3 hours of a different character you've never heard of to open the game. You know, he has like, he's all over the place, and I love it. I love like how ridiculous and how it can only be found in some of this stuff in the Kingdom Hearts world. So I'm here for it. But you know, him spearheading everything and trying to balance everything he's given probably led to a lot of these delays.
No, oh no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say he had a lot on his plate for sure, no doubt.
He has a lot on his plate now. He's attached to so many projects, even to this day.
Right.
And the fact that he's still directing these games, it's like, bro, like it's been
He's head
a long
honcho.
time. You can pass this off to like a young buck now. You know what I mean? You are the dude. So, but he doesn't. I guess good for him.
He does not. I mean, but like going with that, he makes these iconic characters, and it's like you don't forget them. You know, like Sora. Sora is one of the most cliche characters in almost any franchise. Like, he's good-hearted. He's always got a smile on his face, happy-go-lucky, all that. I think his design and the fact that it changes in almost every game, I think it speaks to Nomura's like ability to, you know, design a character in a new perspective, but still make it overall the same design. I think he does a great job. You know, you got Riku, who we haven't even talked about Riku this entire time.
We haven't talked about nearly any of the main
None of the
cast
characters.
in the right.
There's too many characters to talk about.
Too much to
That's
talk
the issue
about.
with this game.
We talked about Roxas
That's
enough.
too much.
We talked about
We talked about Roxas more than we talked about Riku.
Riku is literally the Sasuke of the
I was
Kingdom
going to
Hearts.
say that.
He literally is. You have this slightly older, like not role model, but like, you know, the rival to the young.
The rival.
The rival.
The
Yeah.
moody rival.
The moody rival.
More serious, yeah.
Gary.
Oh, and you know, he likes beating around Sora. You know, just messing with him all the time. I remember that scene in Kingdom Hearts 1. He did some like douchebag move. He's like, oh, Sora, you want to know what happens if two people eat the Palpu?
Oh man, when you talking about the Palpu fruit, I was like, shut the fuck up, Riku. I'm gonna give
You don't even like her like that.
I'm
Why
gonna
you
give Kyrie the Palpu fruit. Who the fuck are you? Right. I know exactly. I didn't like Riku at that point.
I forgot about that. I did not like Riku either.
Right. I'm like, why am I trying to find Riku? Like, who the fuck cares?
Oh, yeah.
My
Exactly.
island, my
Why do
home.
we care so much?
I think every 8, 9, 10-year-olds had crushes on Kyrie, and Riku was the absolute worst.
Like,
Try to get in
when
between
you
that.
challenge Riku to the little races that you're doing before you go off on the boat,
Oh my
and if
god,
you ever
the
lost
tree
to
race.
Riku and Sora's like,
yeah.
huh. Or if you ever challenge Riku to a sword fight, and if you ever lost, it's like, huh, because Riku was kind of hard to beat.
Oh yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was.
But like, yeah, I hated Riku. I never liked Riku in the beginning.
But then
But then, when he said take care of her, I was like, oh gosh, I love Riku.
Riku's my favorite character now in the series. Like,
Love that man.
dare I say, he's the only one that's had development.
He's had great
You know
development.
what? Yeah.
Yeah.
He has a story. Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm more surprised Nomura doesn't want to make Riku the main character at this point.
Well, you know, it's funny.
He's more interesting.
Funny
than
that
Sora.
you talk about that right there. Riku was supposed to be the main character all along, remember? Because who was first blessed by Keyblade Master?
Oh right.
Yes,
right.
right.
Riku was blessed by Sora, was literally given a chance to wield the Keyblade by a mistake. because you know what Aqua was like, watch over your friend. You know, Riku was supposed to be your quintessential character, and again, that's what makes Riku's character really a good character, is that he was supposed to be your chosen one, and then he fell into darkness, literally fell into darkness.
Baby.
And on top of falling into darkness, he still rises out of the darkness and surpasses Sora in this whole 15-year gap of time. Because, you know, he becomes a master before Sora becomes a master.
Okay.
And you're just like, what the fuck are we playing as Sora at this point? Like, Sora sucks.
Busy playing Dream Drop Distance. That's why. Dreaming instead. Or playing those card games in Chain of Memories.
Oh, yeah,
but no,
Riku
Riku is
never,
far superior.
Yeah, he's never awake to be as good.
It's just hard to root for Sora when Riku's gone through all this struggle, and you know he's like thriving, and it's like, Sora, you should have got it by now. Come on, man. Like, what
I mean, you
doing?
might get your wish with the next game. Riku might be the main character, especially the way the last game ended.
Very
Sora
true.
supposedly disappeared. So they might start off the game with Riku in the first half, us going after Sora. That's a possibility.
It's true. I feel like as an IP, they're never gonna abandon Sora as the main character. Like he has to be. But I think Nomura's gonna start, you know, utilizing Riku as a playable character more.
He's so iconic. I mean, you saw
Yeah.
the internet lost their minds when he joined Smash. I think he was like the most requested Smash character for
most
years.
requested.
For years, right? I think not for Brawl, but for Wii U when they were doing the DLCs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. He
I think
was
as soon as
already-
like Cloud like showed up, it was like, wait, Square's on the table? Like, okay, like let's get Sora in here. And it took a hot minute, but they got him.
He's here. The final
Yeah.
Smash DLC character.
Do y'all actually want another? What are we talking about? Kingdom Hearts game? Do y'all want another Kingdom Hearts game?
I mean,
Yes.
do I want one?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
What?
See? Those fake friends right here.
You're
Do you
not.
guys
Whispering
know
lies
what
into our
happened after
ears.
the secret boss or what? Like, I hope y'all know.
I know. My file got deleted. I need to replay the third game first so I can play the DLC.
Okay, so
Yeah,
the statute of limitations is a week, so you have a week to finish it.
I have to replay all the games because I need to refresh
That's
my
okay.
memory.
You got a week.
My
You
chain
don't.
of
Let's go
memory
for it.
on the
There's
story.
a whole YouTube video that's 52 minutes long.
Your melody of memory is not intact right now.
I can say
Yeah,
this.
there we go.
I did see the Zeta Flare moment on YouTube, and I did cry. That made me
What,
cry.
with Donald?
Yeah.
What, you thought Donald died?
I whatever happened in no YouTube, that was enough.
Y'all have to play the game, man.
I was.
Oh my gosh,
you have to play
never
the game.
finished
You're
the
messing around
game.
so
He
much.
never finished the game yet. He
You're-
saw the Zeta flare of Donald.
I saw Zeta Flare. That was it. And
You have
I'm-
fake tears right now.
No, you know, at this point,
he's
just give us the
alive.
copy of your game. You don't
Is he
deserve
alive?
it anymore.
Did he make it?
I can't
Yes,
answer
he
that
made
question.
it.
What do you
Disney's
think?
not
You-
gonna let
Yeah.
Square Enix
Disney
kill off a
is-
Disney character.
Listen, man. Disney came in with this is a cool fact. Disney came in with very specific things as far as Kingdom Hearts goes. With the first game, they said Mickey Mouse can only be featured in like no less than 1 minute in the first game. That is why Mickey Mouse appears at the very end. If they are so stuck up their ass about him appearing in the first game for 1 minute, you think they're gonna kill off a Disney IP? You think they're gonna kill off Donald Duck?
That's probably written in the contract. No Disney character can die.
Right, you
None.
cannot kill a Disney
Yeah.
character.
I thought he died.
Kids can't see that.
Don't get me wrong, because that was in the trailer too. Like Donald kind of fainting a little bit, and you thought maybe, oh shit, Donald
what's
bit the
going on?
dust. Right, but no, you can't kill
Yeah.
kill Disney characters. You can't kill Disney characters that never died. So we
Yeah.
watched Mufasa die in Kingdom Hearts 2. We watched
Right.
Ursula die twice for some reason. Yeah,
If it's
and
a
so
villain, it's like a safe bet, right?
forth. Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right.
But I guess going back to what Tevin was saying, if we wanted another Kingdom Hearts, you know, part of it is, to be fair, starting from 1 all the way up to 3, there's only been one villain, or at least a head honcho, a guy at the top. Xehanort.
A head honcho in retrospective, because they went and retcon that. Yes.
They did all that, but for a time, he was the I don't know. I guess the Madara Uchiha.
Yes,
I feel like y'all are missing Maleficent. She's actually
Maleficent ain't shit.
Wait, hold up. Wait.
In terms of a catalyst that's pushing like the actual like story forward, Xehanort's got way more on Maleficent.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying she's actually a pretty main villain. If you know,
she plays a role.
If you know about the God damn it, the Keyblade, the mobile game, the
Unchained.
Talking about when she found the boxes.
Yeah, no, but she's a very important in the early stories of Kingdom Hearts because apparently that matters. But like way back before all of this, like it's the mobile game. I don't know if y'all know this.
Unchained.
Yeah, but she's in that game and she has like a lot of influence in there. And she knows about the box and everything. Maleficent is a huge villain in this, and I think we just like look past her all the time. But she's actually quite significant. If you could like read about it, but no, she's fucking like
she's definitely a play. I see her as like an Orochimaru. I keep comparing this to Naruto.
Yeah.
Where
fine comparison.
It's a Madara Uchiha. He's like the main one pushing, and mind you, we know about what happened after Madara with Kaguya, but forget all that. Madara Uchiha, the main guy pushing the story forward. That's Xehanort. Then you got Orochimaru, Maleficent, doing her own thing, but still a very important person because you got to take care of her as well. She's important. She's moving things on her own with the box and the book. It's a lot of pieces moving forward, but because most of that was resolved with Xehanort, and he's gone. Supposedly, he's gone now.
No one is truly gone in this series, Maddie. You know this.
I don't know, man. I think Xehanort's done because that's the thing. Like, this whole thing was considered from Nomura's perspective, the Xehanort saga. 3 concluded the Xehanort saga. To bring Xehanort back, they're not gonna do that. So essentially, with a new Kingdom Hearts game, he's gonna have to set up something brand new. It's like and it goes back into Tevin's thing when he was saying earlier. That means you're investing into Kingdom Hearts for like another 10 plus games. Do you want to do that?
But have Heartless, nobody.
Yeah.
Like,
here's the thing. I feel like the story is so important, quote unquote, to Kingdom Hearts, but it's not what I go to Kingdom Hearts for. It's like, I know it's there and I try to keep up with it, but it's like, if Kingdom Hearts wasn't fun to play, I wouldn't play it. You know what I mean? Like if it was like, I don't even know, if it was like not even Final Fantasy, if it was like Dragon Quest meets, I don't know, American Tail characters, I'd be out. You know what I mean? Like it's
what
like
an odd choice.
Can you imagine some Dragon Quest characters be
my God.
Hey, what's up, little mouse? I can't find my family.
There are no cats in America.
Great song. But you know what I mean? Like Kingdom Hearts, like, all right, the story has its things, but it's so much more than that in my eyes. It is the gameplay. It's figuring out which Disney worlds you're going to. It's playing through those worlds. It's these characters, like whether they're like really fleshed out, whether Sora really has any growth throughout the series. I don't think so. I think he starts over as soon as the new game starts. But, it's like so much more than that. And I think like I'll be back. You know what I mean? Like whether it brings Xehanort back or not, whether the story's quote unquote good, I'll be back for 4, I'll be there. So
I won't, but I have a question. Did anybody actually build them a real gummy ship? Like
yes.
Oh,
dude,
God.
I got obsessed with that for like a good week.
Okay.
Did you
Like-
actually
like- like
customize, like put it?
Like, did you
Like
really
from
get it?
scratch, from scratch.
Yeah, from scratch. Like
So not
I-
using
so
not
many-
using
No.
not using a blueprint.
Yeah, no
I'm just saying,
blueprints.
I never really got to see how far you can really go with the gummy ship and building it. So
Oh,
I'm
it-
curious if
They
it
go. You can make them like, I don't know, like space yachts. Like you can make them so big, and it's just like for me, it was really to see like how high could I really get these stats.
Mhm.
Like, and then what design could I really get these stats? Like I have like shit that doesn't make any sense. I have things that like look like they look like stick figures. Like you could make a ton of shit. It's just after I saw like when you get I think it's a DLC or something you get in the game. Like you can get like different types of ships that look completely ridiculous, and that gave me so many ideas to like make like simple stuff. I made a bullet, like the bullet from I YouTubed it. I'm gonna be honest, but I made the bullet from Mario. Yeah, Bullet Bill. Yeah, I made him. Yeah, there's a shit ton of like designs you can do, but no, that I love that shit. Like that
Okay.
was
I never got it.
that was amazing.
Okay.
That was definitely an aspect of Kingdom Hearts. I could never get into it. It was
Same.
just,
I can't do it.
It was like something so separate from the base game that you have to invest time into. And I was like, listen, Sephiroth is kicking my ass in one quarter. I don't know if I want to spend all this time making a ship and testing it out and doing all this stuff. It just wasn't for me. The fact that Nomura keeps bringing this damn thing back, it really shows it's something he is obsessed with, that
I
he
love it.
wants.
People like it. People like
It's so ridiculous.
I
Why
like
is
it
it
to a
here?
degree. I don't care for the customization. Give me the blueprints. I will take a better
Copy
ship.
paste.
But I
That's all
ain't
I
gonna
need.
customize my own ship.
I would like it more if it was thoughtless. Like it's so much other stuff going on. Like I just want to put my 2 laser beams and then my little sonic waves up here, and
Yeah,
then
but it's not-
the blaster up here.
but
And I just keep going. Like I don't
It's
want
not it's not that complicated though, because you just have to break it down. It's really not that complicated.
Not
I
that
promise.
complicated, but it's like I just want to get to the next world.
Yeah,
Like-
but like that's a problem of like the excitement you get from the game. I made sure I did.
I cannot believe Kame Chris is
I-
defending gummy ship.
Yeah, the gummy ship, man. Come on, get off this.
But did you guys like do all the I know for the gummy ships you have to have them good too to do this. Like you beat all the big it was like these big like gates or something.
Like the
thing.
fortress
And, like,
ones, the fortresses,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Did you? Yeah, you have to do all those, and then there's like another one, another boss, and it was what you did. Like it's
Listen,
so-
Chris.
in the
I'm gonna say this: if I all gummy ships, I'm telling you, I was hanging on the thread of my teeth trying to pass those things. Like
oh my God.
they should not
once,
have been
once
as
you
hard.
finished it and you could fast travel, that's all I did.
Right. Honestly, it was like they could have been easier if I was doing what you were doing, but I made them the most difficulty
Yeah, they were
ever.
easy.
'Cause
Yeah,
I did not care.
but it was okay. So it was also nostalgic because it's like, damn, I haven't seen the gummy ship in forever. Like to actually do this, it was super nostalgic. I took advantage of every
Why
single
you
time. I
care
had
so
to-
much about the gummy ship?
I agree. If they took it out,
Great.
I'm not saying it needs to be there, but if they took it out in the next one, I would be like, oh,
What the
Why'd
fuck
they do that?
man.
Yeah,
Right,
where'd
no,
it go?
you need it, but you don't need it.
Okay, but you have there's so many aspects. Like there's one thing I wish they would have done in this one, but you did
I can't
say
believe
that they
this.
do it in every Kingdom Hearts game.
Can't
It's Hercules.
believe
I
this.
wish we would have got the Coliseum. Like a maybe a DLC of
Okay.
the Coliseum to
Oh,
play
we didn't
online.
get a tournament? Did we
Like-
not get a tournament? in
we did
Like an
not.
online Coliseum, like you just play using the main characters that you have. Like I would have been obsessed with that. I probably would have played a very long time after Kingdom, like after finishing the game. I would after like becoming a pro after beating organization. I'd be like, yeah, I'm going online. Yeah, no one's beating me. Yeah, there's no fucking way. Play forever. I don't know why they didn't do anything like that. It sucks.
Missed opportunity.
Definitely, 3 had a lot of missed opportunities in terms of
my
how they handled some aspects. Because you had some elements that you're like, well, why didn't they put that in the new one? Like I remember there was like an arena in Birth by Sleep where it was like co-op. I think you could team up online with someone and fight enemies.
Oh yeah. I didn't do that either. Like it was tried it once or twice. Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, well
That's how it was. It was yeah.
You know, aside from that, I mean, we covered the characters, we covered the story for the most part. I guess the only thing left is we've been really talking about Kingdom Hearts and Kingdom Hearts 2, a little bit of 3. We kind of touched on Chain of Memories. What do you guys think about all the other entries that we got on here, right? Okay, you know what? Chain of Memories. Everyone's got a different take on this because not everyone played the same Chain of Memories. Some people haven't even played Chain of Memories, apparently.
The fake fans out there. Wow.
Wait,
I'll
hold
say
up.
this. You had to be there. You had to be there.
You had to be, yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Like the deck building, like at the peak of like Yu-Gi-Oh, you know, like Game Boy Advance graphics, like I don't even know, like maybe Golden Sun would be up there. Like, but like in terms of graphics.
Absolutely.
In terms of graphics. I don't even think Golden
Graphics got it.
Like those graphics were out of this world. It was like this kind of odd, tilted, not 3D, but going for 3D on the Game Boy Advance. Like it was out of this world in terms of graphics. And it was fun. I don't know, customizing your deck was fun. But I do think you had to be there. I don't know if it holds up like on a modern day console. Especially in terms of like the shallowness of the levels. The kind of like confined fighting areas. Yeah, probably doesn't hold up. But I'm telling you, if you were there back in the day on the Game Boy Advance, like switching it up with like Pokemon Ruby, it's great.
No, as someone who has never played the original Game Boy Advance version.
Oh, really? I didn't know you never played.
I've never played it. And mind you, I do have a story on it where a good friend of ours back in middle school found just Chain of Memories on the floor, who was not a fan of Kingdom Hearts. He just picked it up and he's like, this is mine now. And I tell him, wait, you don't like Kingdom Hearts. Let me have it. And he's like, no, it's mine.
Should have beat him up for it.
I should have beat him up for it. What
Beat
the
him in the side
hell?
of the head and just apologize later.
Yeah, literally.
So I never played the original Chain of Memories, but I acknowledge for it being a Game Boy Advance game, there were some corners that needed to be cut in terms of how you represent this combat system on a handheld device. My play of Chain of Memories was the 3D one, Chain of Memories, on the HD collection on the, I think it was like the PS3. It was terrible. And that's mainly because the whole gimmick of the card system is forgiven when you're on a Game Boy Advance and you know 3D graphics are not going to work on a Game Boy Advance. When you go into 3D, there is no reason to use a card-based combat system. So you're sitting there frustrated saying, I'm pressing X, but Sora's not swinging his Keyblade because I don't have the damn card to swing the Keyblade.
Yep.
And it's just frustrating. It's just so frustrating. And I mean, that's just combat, right? And then kind of what HooperTV was saying before, I was not a fan of the worlds because now they're like dissected, like little hallways. Like it's super weird the way they did it. It was understandable on the Game Boy Advance, but now that we're in 3D land, it makes no sense. And I'm just wondering, like, okay, I kind of want to just get through this. I kind of like the story a little bit, but not really.
Story again gets convoluted at that point because I'm over here like, oh shit, there was another girl nominee. Oh, wait a minute. Nominee is making him rewriting his memories? Who the fuck is nominee? Wait a minute. Like that was literally, it was like, I was so confused playing that game as far as story-wise goes. Because again, you had the nominee bit, and then at the other end, it was like, whose organization? Who are these guys? Why do they care so much? Why are they bothering Sora? Why is Riku on the basement levels? Why can't he be on the main levels with Sora helping him. What's going on? I had no idea what was going on. It really made no sense. They made it make sense in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Imagine going from 1 to 2, skipping Chain of Memories, not knowing it's important to the plot. This group is called Organization 13, and you're like, where the hell are the other 6 members? You know?
Well, it was confusing on Chain of Memories because it was like Organization 13, and then there's like 6. It's like, what's going on here?
Yeah, who's pulling the string?
Right, and they kept alluding to their leader, and you thought you met their leader in Marluxia, and then Marluxia is not the leader. Nowhere near.
He's
being the
not.
leader.
He looks cool though.
He
I like
does
his
look
pink
cool.
hair and his
He's got a cool scythe.
rose petals. I like it. It's fancy stuff. But with Kingdom Hearts 2, we talked a lot about Kingdom Hearts 2 already. The reaction commands, I think that added a whole new depth into, you know, how we perceive the combat in our head. Super awesome, super cool. And then we got the to me, that's the greatest final boss fight in the entire Kingdom Hearts. When you fight Xemnas, Sora and Riku versus Xemnas, that's my favorite boss fight.
Yeah,
Aesthetically,
when the
it's
laser
my
was pointing
favorite.
at them and they had to dodge and block it. Oh
Yes.
man,
Iconic. It's
That was
iconic.
good. You had to do X and triangle as
Yeah.
fast
Yes.
as you could.
Oh my
Yeah.
god! As a kid, I'm only hitting X, and I'm like, why am I not dodging all the lasers? My
you had to
HP
hit
is still
both.
going down.
You had to hit both. Right.
Yeah,
right.
it was
So you had
like-
to turn the
yeah.
controller
Yeah,
like
I literally
vertical.
would get like both of my fingers and I
yes.
think I'm not dying. No, it was aesthetically probably the most pleasing to like watch and play. Like that was amazing. The black and
was-
white and then the lights. It was great.
I mean, it was great. You got to play as Riku for the first time in that one little
You
segment.
got to play as Riku. That was probably the highlight of that whole thing. Yes.
It was. Oh my god, Kingdom Hearts 2, still one of my personal faves. But what about the other ones? Any 358 over 2 stands here?
No.
Right
No.
here. Right
You
here.
get out.
Tell
out.
me, Chris, you have some of the hottest hot takes on this damn series.
What did you find redeeming about that game? Because
It
I
was-
can't find anything redeeming about that game.
And you
It
played
was,
on the DS, right? You played on the DS?
Yeah, it was on the DS. Yeah, it was on
Okay.
the DS. I played on my old DS actually. I still have the game, but it was really fun for me. I'm big on DS, so it was a very surprising. I think that was probably the first game I might have played. That wasn't. I think because I played Chain of Memories later, like even after this. So this was like the first off Kingdom Hearts game, I guess you can say, like side story I played. So the whole time I'm just sitting there like, bro, this story is crazy right now. Like, what is going on? Like, I had no idea about the organization too much, but I'm like, oh, we get in the mix of I'm the organization. Oh, I'm a nobody. Oh, this explains Roxas. And then when you see him in Kingdom Hearts 2, you're like, oh no, Birth by Sleep, when he says vintage, you're like, wait, so I've seen him in 3 different ways right now, and this is killing me. I think the game itself was okay. Like, it wasn't bad. I finished it. Like, it was really fun, but I mean, it wasn't the best game for sure. It just was good. And the story for me is what keeps me around most of the time. It's a really good story. Because I like very perplex stories and like stories that go in 20 different directions. So this is definitely like one of my favorites. Like, as far as like games I played. So the story is like what gets me going every time. Gameplay is great, but story is probably even better.
Toda, wait. You were invested in the story of Shion.
I was invested in everybody.
Shion is you'd be surprised how many people are big fans of Shion.
It was
You'd be
because she
surprised.
reminded me of Kyrie. I was like, oh, is that like supposed to be like Kyrie's Kyrie's girl or whatever? I was like, wait, but isn't that Nominate? I didn't.
Right, no, there.
Yeah.
Right there. You said it. We're done.
Yeah.
We're done. Okay.
But I did play Chain
Awesome.
of Memories though.
Waste of time. Waste of time.
Waste
Why
of
are we
time.
playing this?
Waste of time.
I think the only other DS game was Recoded.
Yeah, Recoded. Recoded was good too.
Oh
Never
no,
played.
Kame, no, I'm not. Yeah, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
you need to
No,
you need to
I'm
mute
sorry.
him at this point. He's obviously playing us for full.
But it's
He's
good-
pushing
it's
the
good-
limit to see how far we're gonna take it.
I don't have a bad game. Chain of Memories may be the worst one for me, but I am a diehard.
You think Chain of Memories is worse than Recoded?
Yeah, get out. You're
Recoded
done.
was,
Get the hell
Recoded
outta
was
here.
it was difficult. It was difficult. You need to replay those games.
Oh my god!
I was in the moment and I played every single one when they came out. So, except Chain of Memories, that was about the only one I waited a while.
I will admit for 358, regardless of what gripes you may have had with the gameplay, I think the story could have at least brought you along and got you hyped to play the game. I see no redeeming qualities in Recoded. The story was ass. The gameplay was ass. You're not even playing as Sora. It's not even a real version of Sora. It's like a data version. So I know this guy's not gonna matter in the next game. And I'm like, what?
The story did matter. Like
It mattered in the sense that this is why Mickey Mouse wrote the letter to Sora at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2. And I'm like, oh, thanks, Nomura. I really needed to see how this letter was written. I needed to see the chain of events that led to it. But I'm here for it. You have to take the good with the bad when it comes to Kingdom Hearts. You have to. But I think the one after that was the PSP one, Birth by Sleep. Fan favorite of the combat. What's the system called where you change forms?
I mean, it was okay. So, Birth by Sleep took a lot of. It took a couple of ideas from Chain of Memories with the deck system, but instead of making it card based, they made it abilities and abilities. So it was like, you want to do certain moves, it costs a certain amount of AP points. And it was like certain abilities could trigger transformations. So if you wanted to make a deck that would trigger a fire transformation where all your moves are now fire based, you would make a deck solely based on that fire. If you wanted to make it based on those like lightsaber looking blades, you would make that deck based on those. And I think that was very creative in that point. It was like you had a lot of customization and a lot of tinkering you could do as far as how to trigger certain transformations with those characters. And that was a lot of fun in Birth by Sleep. And it was called a deck system. So, you can thank Chain of Memories. Those who want to shit on Chain of Memories, no. If you like Birth by Sleep, you better, give credit where credit is due. Okay? All right?
Okay.
There is no Birth by Sleep without Chain of Memories. Combat system wise, okay? Okay.
There's no Birth by Sleep without 2 either, because 2 had the transformations.
Yes.
Those were really cool.
You're right. They just took it another level because, in Birth by Sleep, one transformation could lead to another transformation, which was also kind of cool, I don't know if y'all remember that. I remember that vividly. Like, you go from this fire dude to this, like, badass, like, I'm a god with, like, 6 blades coming out of me, dude.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so you remember. Perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I remember.
What, going from Birth by Sleep, mind you, these are not the order that the games came out in, but overall kind of the same sequence. Dream Drop Distance, I didn't have a 3D. I think I borrowed a friend's 3DS to play Dream Drop. I never bought a 3DS. Yeah.
Another system I specifically bought to play the Kingdom Hearts, the Kingdom Hearts exclusive for that console.
I had a 2DS for Pokemon, so I just
Perfect. You had it ready for Dream Drop.
Yeah.
Flow motion was cool. I like using. Yeah.
Flow motion. That was the best thing that came out of Dream Drop, probably. Flow motion.
Dream Drop was great. Actually, wait, rewind. Dream Drop was a really good game. Now that I'm thinking of a flow motion, I think I played that one probably the longest out of all of them, like the side ones. like as far as like doing everything afterwards too. The flow motion was phenomenal. I remember playing that and then seeing Kingdom Hearts 3 and like, oh, there's like a flow motion in here. Are you serious? Like this is crazy. They put that in here. Yeah, Dream Drop Distance was great. Yeah, that was probably next to Birth by Sleep in terms of the side games. It was pretty good. It was really good. If y'all didn't play, you had to.
The
play.
Dream Eaters were kind of cool. I like the Dream Eaters.
The Dream Eaters were
like the map.
They were fun.
They were fun. They were a fun distraction. I'm not gonna go over like the side stuff, like the mobile game Dark Road. I mean, it's just there. You need it for the story because stuff happens in there that's important later on. But the only other major one that you can really even consider is if you even want to consider it one, the fragmentary passage with Aqua. Some consider that. Yeah,
like
0.2, that's what it was.
2.8, right?
Yeah.
2.8 was the collection, and then the actual Aqua bit was 0.2.
Yeah.
A fragmentary passage. What did you guys actually? That might be an interesting thing because when that game came out, a lot of Kingdom Hearts fans still waiting for 3. That was their first taste of Kingdom Hearts 3 of what it could be.
Yeah, that was the demo, right?
Yeah, that was supposed to be.
It was a
demo.
glorified demo in a way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Where you play as Aqua in the I think it was like the Realm of Darkness or something.
It was amazing.
Yeah,
Like,
I thought it was a good, appetizer to see. It's funny because they knew they had nothing to sell on this collection because the only other remaining games that did not receive an HD remaster were Dream Drop Distance, and that's it. Dream Drop was the only one, so they made a whole movie on Union Cross. That was that little 1-hour movie that you could watch on 2.8. And the third thing to round it off was 0.2. That was it.
And then 3 years later, we got the game. 3 years later, we got the game.
3 years later.
Right. I mean, at that point, they were like, here's the 2.5 remix. Oh, here's the 2.8 fragmentary passage. I was like, y'all really pushing. If y'all dare put out a 2.9, I'm out.
Y'all just don't want to make 3. Just come out and say it. If you don't want to count to 3, just tell me. Tell me right now.
Like, there's no way y'all are splitting up your team to go make these 1/10 of a franchise versus the whole franchise. There's no way. It's like, hey, 8/10 of y'all are gonna work on Aqua's story. The 2/10 of y'all are gonna work on Kingdom Hearts 3. Y'all are gonna be working for 5 years. They're gonna be working for a year. Like, there's no way. There's no way. Can you imagine? What is the sense in this?
There's none. And of course, from there we get to 3 and 3. You know what? Since we're on 3, I kind of want to push this onto the table and see what you guys think about just the series as a whole before we close it off. What is your most favorite and your least favorite Kingdom Hearts game? It could be a culmination of the story, the gameplay, or just one of them. But if you had to choose, this is the one I don't want to go back and play ever again. That's your worst one. And your best one, it's like, man, I could play this like 20 times. It never gets old. This is a great game.
And I can go first because I will say it. Chain of Memory was the worst. Especially the remake. If you played it on the OG GBA, maybe, but go back and play it in the remake. I remember playing it and talking to Dr. Chase on the chat, and he was like, dude, you just have to get to it. And I'm like, I can't. Like, this is a goddamn mess. Like, I hit a wall because it was action. And then those goddamn cards, oh, you don't have a number 9 and the enemy has a number 9. What will you do? Like, it was a mess.
Hit him with a 0. Hit him with a 0.
You gotta stack zeros.
I didn't have any zeros because I had not beaten enough people to get the 0 card. So
you used it on the door to unlock the door so you could guess it before.
No one's the game spitting in my face and beating me up. Like, what am I doing? So, no, I'm never going back to this game. I do not care what happened. They will have to completely remove the card system and maybe give it the combat system of. I'll go back to the combat system of 1. I'd rather have the combat system of the first game than have those goddamn cards, because that can give me PTSD. I think this is why I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh anymore. That's why. But best game, honestly, Birth by Sleep. Birth by Sleep in the demo, the 0.2, those were really good because it got me hyped up for the third game, which I was excited for just because by the time I finished those games, the third game really had just released. So as I was playing this game, I'm like, oh snap, this is getting really good. I wonder how the combat is going to evolve. And seeing like the combat system, how much it evolved from the first to Birth by Sleep, because I played them back to back, it's an amazing part. And I mean, the third game was good, but what Birth by Sleep did was revolutionary. Plus the story, oh man, like the story of the 3 characters, the final battle, Xehanort just whooping their ass and slapping them around, them trying to fight back, and you're like, oh shit,
They were destined to lose.
These bastards are gonna lose because they didn't show up anytime in the previous game, so they're gonna lose. And yeah, that's why Birth by Sleep is the best. Now y'all can give your wrong opinion and we can close this down.
Whoa.
I'm
the
gonna
toxic mentality.
I'm gonna agree. Birth by Sleep is the best, just because yes, playing as 3 protagonists, 3 separate gameplays, styles, and 3 converging stories. That's kind of pinnacle of, I feel like, any video game experience. I mean, I feel there is a little bit of kind of like that moral choice in there too, but instead of just choosing, it's like, who do you play as? You see the moral choices play out. So that was a very good as far as a story point goes. Gameplay wise, is very good too. Kingdom Hearts 3 is the most disappointing of all the entries. As far as what, hold up, as far as the buildup goes.
No, yeah,
and
yeah,
the potential. Kingdom Hearts 3 is the most disappointing of all the entries. And don't get me wrong, because you know, if you ask me what the worst game is, I would say 358/2. I would say that was the worst entry ever. However, Kingdom Hearts 3 is the most disappointing. I walked out of Kingdom Hearts 3, I was like, 14 years for this? Bullshit. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay. All right. I mean, y'all not paying respects to Kingdom Hearts 2, but don't worry, I got you covered there. That's my personal fave. Specifically the final mix version. Once you have everything in there, right? You have the entire organization data battle. You have the secret bosses with Lingering Will. I feel like Kingdom Hearts 2 is the culmination of like the complete package of what you should expect from a Kingdom Hearts game in terms of like just content, the way the combat should be, and just the story. The story made me a fan. You know, everyone wanted to be that emo kid walking down the hallway with a hooded cloak covering his eyes, like the organization. But Kingdom Hearts 2 is my personal fave just in terms of everything. Not Dream Drop. Birth by Sleep is up there as well, but the worst one for me is Recoded. I can give 358 at least the story. At least it has something of a story. You cannot tell me you go into Recoded and say, oh wow, I wonder how this is gonna resolve.
There is no story to 358/2. It is simply Roxas going on missions, and then he realizes, I gotta go back to
character development.
It's what to show what he lost.
It is hardly development.
It was hardly development, and I will stand by that.
I cannot stand by Recoded because Recoded does not have the combat and it doesn't have the story.
Never play Recoded.
Don't replay Recoded.
You don't have to. You don't. Even though I say it's okay, you don't have to. I promise.
The most disappointing, I would agree, is Kingdom Hearts 3. Like how long we waited, every single thing about that game needed to, slap. really hard, especially the world. The worlds needed to hit hard. I'm telling you, my only favorite worlds in Kingdom Hearts 3 were Toy Story, Olympus for the 10th time, and Tangled. That's it.
You didn't like Pirates of the Caribbean?
I'm one of those fans that absolutely hates the Pirates of the Caribbean being included in Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, really? Oh,
I am not a fan. I was not a fan of it in 2, and I'm like, ugh, I want to. Tevin, I'm like,
it's out of place. It's out of place. It doesn't belong.
It doesn't feel right. These are like live action characters. I'm like, I'm not. I'm not for it.
By Kingdom Hearts 3, I thought it was overdone. That's what I'll say.
I thought they were just trying to show their graphic expertise.
That's all it was.
Perfected. I think that's all they wanted to do. I don't think it was supposed to be like, oh my god.
I'm not here for it. You wasted my time.
A mini open world where you could like sail your ship around in that world too.
Actually, okay, that was pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty fun.
The world is empty. There's nothing to do.
I still enjoy that part. I still enjoy that part.
Yeah, that was really fun. I'm not.
It ain't no black flag. It is not no black flag. So don't you dare.
Yeah,
it's better. You're right.
Liking that.
No, enough.
I'll go next. To piggyback off of DrJaceAttorney, I'm trying to think. I feel like the Mulan level where all the Heartless come and they play the role. Do I have this right? Where they play the role of the Huns, like coming down the mountain.
Oh my god!
Yes, that is correct.
I forgot about that.
And then Sora has to like fight all of them in like this epic ass battle. That's probably my favorite moment in like the whole series. So I'll probably. It's tough. I mean, like I think 3. I think you guys are all more invested into the story and what needed to be wrapped up than I am. So when I played 3, I was like, oh wow, I can't believe they just did this. I can't believe they gave you an open world in the Pirates of the Caribbean level. Oh, I can't believe they didn't. I said this before, but man, they give you the entire script of Tangled in the game. It is so ridiculous. But I liked it. They had enough moments, and I felt like the gameplay, while being a little easy, was fluid enough that I enjoyed my time with it. But man, like that moment when like the Huns of Heartless come down, that's probably my favorite moment, and so I'll probably give it to 2 being my favorite game. Least favorite, wow. I definitely missed some in my playthrough. I had like my big break in video games during my college years. So I'll say 358 over 2. I remember either trying that one and not getting into it, or just thinking the name was dumb. I'll say that's the worst one.
It was the most absurd.
The dumbest name. That was so stupid of a title.
But it makes sense given the
Hold
context.
on, what's 358 divided by 2?
I'm not a math whiz.
Exactly. That's why it's dumb. That is why it's dumb.
No, surprisingly, no one has mentioned Melody of Memory, which is like the most recent Kingdom Hearts game. I haven't played it. I was skipping that. It's relevant to the story. Stuff happens in it.
No, I thought it was just a retell, but in a musical.
No, like there's stuff that happens like in it that's continuous in the story. Apparently, at some point I'll get to it when it's like $5. I'll throw in my $5 into that hat. But Tevin, round us off.
2 is my favorite. 3 is probably my least favorite out of the ones I played, just because I don't feel like, in my opinion, that the wait kind of like paid off. I didn't even know it was 14 years. Like, damn, that's from the second to the third one. That's a long time. I mean, I just feel like at that point, graphics should have been on point, story should have been on point, battle system should have been on point. We had way too many, not the regular summons, but too many carousels, too many. It was too much.
You didn't like the theme park ride?
It was overwhelming. It was it made it so easy. And I don't know. But like I said, I think I kind of just aged out for me personally. By the time 3 can't come out, my biggest I'm just grateful for number 2. I was wondering, could Yuta, how you say her name? Yuta, could you do it again? Are you gonna make that simple and clean magic again? Can you do it again? Can you speak to my soul again? And then she came out with Sanctuary, and I said, bitch, you're a genius. I'm so like, how do you do this? How do you do this? I don't know. Like, Face My Fears is good, and the other one is good.
Don't Think Twice.
Don't think
Face My
twice.
She does a great job. She does a great job.
She
Voice of
didn't
an
mark
Angel.
with any of those.
Yeah. 10 out of 10 on the music. Everything else, 2 is my favorite.
Okay, fair enough. I think we practically covered everything that there is to
Wait,
talk
I don't think
about.
I went.
No, you did. You said, oh no, you didn't.
No, I did.
Go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead. I forgot. I thought you went already. I think because every time when someone said, I hate 358, you're like, 358 is one of the good ones.
Yeah, it's not my favorite one, but
Go ahead.
I actually, ever since we brought up Dream Drop Distance, that is a really, like, the remix, like when they remixed it, it was really good. I want to say it's a fight between that one and Birth by Sleep for me, honestly. I think I'm gonna have to go Birth by Sleep, but it only because of the story and repeating everyone's story individually, and the time, like the length of the games were perfect. Like everyone's story was perfect. It wasn't too long. You got like a good amount of worlds, and then when you got to the climax of it all, it was pretty good. Aqua's was probably my favorite, but I would say the worst would be it'd have to be. I think I have to agree with y'all after everyone said it. Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm very big on like the MMO RPG online thing, so I wish they would have went that route way hardcore. Like, I mean, there's so much they could have done.
You wanted it to be an
online.
MMO?
Yeah, like not an MMO, but like, I was saying earlier, like the Coliseum.
Oh, like a multiplayer type of deal?
Yeah, they could have had something in like, I mean, if they wanted to make some real money, they would have, capitalized off of that for like years. People would have, and just, done a GTA 5 and just had us play that one forever until they decide to create a new one. But I mean, it was so, I feel like they, like with all the ways to fight, the theme park and everything else, you put all that time into every single one of those when you could have just made this a bit more expansive game that everyone could have played a lot longer. Like it just didn't make sense why they went some routes. But yeah, I'd say Birth by Sleep, and then Kingdom Hearts 3 would be the worst one. Like most disappointing, I would say.
Okay.
They had time.
They have, yeah.
Too much time. Too much
They had
time.
too much time to build that up. But all right, yeah. I think that rounds us off on our Kingdom Hearts panel talk. We've been here for quite some time, boys. But this was a good talk. There were some things in here that I didn't even know about the series going in. So very, very informative. And here's to Kingdom Hearts. Some of us are here for it continuing, but not everyone's on the same ship. We'll see what happens, but there is clearly something about this series that brought us all together, and it was a mix of everything: the combat, the Disney, the Final Fantasy part, the music. Kingdom Hearts is a little bit for everyone. So if anyone out there still has not even touched this series yet, we hope that at the very least, if you're with us this long, if you listen to our pod up until this point, we at least convinced you in some way to go at least give it a try. Start with the first one. It's a tough one to get through. You got that face in the background on Grandmaster's screen. That's from the first game. You're gonna see that face a lot, so that's all well and good. But all right. That closes us off on our panel talk retrospective for Kingdom Hearts. So if you guys enjoyed what we had to say on this pod, keep it simple and clean, and go to our sanctuaries on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Apple Podcasts. If you got social media, go and give us a listen. You won't regret it. Don't think twice about clicking that subscribe button as well. And
remember, thinking of you wherever you are.
couldn't have said it better myself. But with that, everyone, we're closing out the table talk for this week of Kingdom Hearts. I am your Yonko host, DrJaceAttorney, fellow Yonko GrandMasterHoop, Supernovas, Kame Chris, Toasty, TevintheFifth, and Admiral Hooperlino, formerly HooperTV, formerly known as Hooperlino. Signing off. Take care, everyone.